Soon, Wayaki joined again the daily rhythm of life in the village. He went out looking after cattle, organized raids, went out hunting. He joined in the dances of the young boys and felt happy. Days came and went, and still it was the same life. His eyes retained a strong and resolute look. Some people said that there was something evil in it, but his father must have had the same sort of eyes. In a body becoming distorted with wrinkles, his eyes remained alive and youthful. One evening, a few weeks after his second birth, Wayaki was called by his father, who liked holding talks in his dingira, the man's heart. Wayaki entered very quietly because he was always uneasy in the presence of his father. Shege was sitting in his usual place by the pool. Goats and sheep slept together around him, and a low snore came from them. "Sit down," Shege said, and indicated a small four-legged stool standing legs upwards near a fat sheep which slept very close to the fireplace. Wayaki poked the sheep in the ribs with the left leg so that he might get a place to sit. The sheep would not move, and Wayaki was forced to sit next to it. "Where do you take the cattle tomorrow?" "The valley of Nyama. Have you been to the hill deep south of Kameno?" Shege spoke slowly, except for a slight tremor in the voice. It was young and calm. "No," Wayaki answered after a slight pause. He was trying to recall the place. He wondered why his father was asking him all this. "Have you ever heard of the sacred grove?" "Yes, we hear about it." There was another silence. Wayaki grew restless with curiosity. "Leave the cattle and the goats with your mother, for tomorrow we shall go to the hills." Outside it was dark. A few stars lay scattered across the sky. Wayaki was excited. He felt ready to start on the journey there and then. What were they going to do together? What were they going to see? It was a secret, a man's secret. What other hidden things did his father hold in his aging body? He wished Shege had told him more, but he would know all, everything tomorrow. It would be a great day. The journey was important. As he ran into his mother's hut and sat down, he felt important and very big. Shege and Wayaki trudged on. The path they followed was unknown to Wayaki, as he had never gone that far along Honia River. But he was content to follow his father, who led the way through the labyrinth of bush thorns and creeping plants. Wayaki was often caught in the network of plants and thorns, sometimes extricating himself with difficulty. Nothing stirred. Only the throb and fall of the river accompanied the occasional plash and slither of their footfalls. Sometimes Shege would stop and seem to listen. Wayaki stopped too, but would hear nothing. Shege would then pour a shower of saliva onto his breast in the coy way of blessing. Wayaki thought his father was blessing the river. Few words passed between them, but when Shege stopped near a certain tree or bush, Wayaki knew that his father had something to explain. "The bark of that tree is good for a fresh wound. The roots of this plant are good. When your stomach bites you, boil them in water, drink the liquid." And sometimes it would be a warning against that tree whose fruit is full of poison. Wayaki felt close to his father, as he has never felt before. He felt a glow rising inside him. Was he not drinking from a calabash of truth and responsibility? Tidero, of a truth he was maturing. The hidden things of the hill were being revealed to him. They left the valley and began to climb up the slopes, past a rock here or a tree there. Wayaki was surprised at his father, who seemed to keep the same pace, while he himself was already panting. Once they disturbed an antelope from its hiding place. It leapt away. Wayaki liked antelopes. He always felt a desire to touch their smooth bodies. They see men and run away. "Why? Don't they run away from women?" Wayaki asked, puzzled. The forest was quiet. One would still catch the fading throb of the river. "You don't know this. Long ago, women used to rule this land and its men. They were harsh, and men began to resent their hard hand. So when all the women were pregnant, men came together and overthrew them. Before this, women owned everything. The animal you saw was their goat. But because the women could not manage them anymore, the goats ran away. They knew the women were weak, so why would they fear them? It was then Wayaki understood why his mother owned nothing. They came to the top. There, they found a beaten path which appeared to have been out of use for a long time. They took it. Ahead of them was a small hill standing all by itself, on top of the sacred place. Wayaki's heart gave a jump. He felt afraid and excited at the same time. A big mogomo tree stood at the edge of the hill. It was a huge tree, thick and mysterious. Bush grew and bowed reverently around it. And there the ancient tree stood, towering over the hill, watching as it were the whole country. It looked holy and awesome, dominating Wayaki's soul so that he felt very small and in the presence of a mighty power. This was a sacred tree. It was the tree of Murungu. Wayaki, now on top of the hill, on the other side of the tree, surveyed the land, and he felt as if his heart would stop beating. So overcome was he by the immensity of the land. The ridges were all flat below his small feet. To the east, the sun had already risen. It could now be seen clearly, a huge red ball of smoldering colors. Strands of yellowish red thinned outwards from the glowing center, diffusing into the thick gray that joined the land to the clouds. Far beyond, its tip hanging in the gray clouds, was Kirinyaga. Its snow-capped top glimmered slightly, revealing the seat of Murungu. The ridges slept on. Kameno and Makuyu were no longer antagonistic. They had merged into one area of beautiful land, which was what perhaps they were meant to be. Makuyu, Kameno, and the other ridges lay in peace, and there was no sign of life as one stood on the hill of God. End of chapter 4.